it's pretty much been all A&M up to this point.
I think when you look up at the score, you're thinking, oh man, 7-0, but Texas A&M just got 2 hits. I mean, if you take, these are things that are fixable. These are just giving free passes and giving away bases. If you eliminate that, the score is different.
Chopped over to first, and Perez is there. Quickly 2-away, Lesentine, the freshman in the circle, allowed a single to lead off the game and has now retired the next 5 batters in order. There's Maddox McKee. I would imagine a lot easier to pitch with a 7-run cushion.
That's a dream.
McKee, a couple of hits last night. And her first career home run a few weeks ago against McNeese. LSU best on base percentage in the entire SEC. And really, they put together a huge inning last night against Emily Kennedy, and it looked like for a moment they were going to light it up, and then all of a sudden Kennedy settled down, and LSU's offense didn't score again until the final frame.
Yeah, they made it interesting in that last inning.
Chopped over to second. Harper is there. The stretch by Perez. A 1-2-3 inning worked by Lesentine. And as you mentioned earlier, Danielle was best known last year for that dramatic game-tying homer. Game 2 of the Austin Super Regional against Texas. And only started 11 games her freshman season this year. Just been an absolutely different story. Hitting .467. with 57 RBIs.
I think that there really is nothing more special than when it just all clicks, right? And nowadays, you don't know if people are going to transfer or not, and that's what Coach Trish Ford said. Like, you just, when an athlete doesn't get maybe the opportunities that they got in travel ball, they'll come in, and then after a first year, they're out. But instead of that, Maya Perez went down and put her head down and went to work, and so respectable. I'm not saying I disagree with when athletes choose to transfer. If you're unhappy and you're getting 0 time and you don't want to maybe go through that same thing again, I get it. Just back in the day, in the Pac-10 days, it was always the question of like, dude, what did you do? What's wrong with you? Now it's just so normalized.
Here is Mac Barbara. After that walk to Maya Perez, LSU pitchers have faced 12 A&M batters, walked 6 of them, and hit another. 1-0 on the way to Barbara. And that's 2-0. Just not taking any chances right now, I guess. After a while, you're at a loss for words when you get 5 walks in the first inning of such a crucial game. And remember, this is huge for seeding in the SEC.
Yeah.
Because you think about the SEC tournament, the top 4 seeds in the tournament get a double bye. And when you talk about the Aggies, is that one fouled off? The Aggies are in good shape. They entered today tied for second place with Oklahoma. But for LSU, it's just a different story. They are trying to get into that 4 spot in the conference race, but they're not there yet.
This is so dirty. Look at the lower half of Mac Barbara, completely fooled. Vallejo, such a good pitch, knee buckling all day. 2 strikeouts for her coming in.
So here is Allie Enright. She walked in the first inning. LSU with the all-time advantage in the series, 21-18, but the Aggies lead it here in College Station, 10-9. This is Tiger's first visit here in 3 years. Hasn't been a pleasant one so far. 0-2.
think the one thing you can just ask of your pitcher right now for LSU is just be able to come in and find a way to get ahead. And I know we had the leadoff walk to Maya Perez, but I'm okay with that. With the way that she's been swinging it, I'm okay to put her on base and then go attack mode. And she kind of had that pitch backwards mentality against Mac Barber. Away, foul ball. Another pitch up in the zone, and then freezes her with the backwards K on that change, and then a quick 2 strikes to Allie Enright.
Tricia Ford said when Enright and Dement are hitting in the middle of that order, when the 5 and 6 batters are going, they are tough to beat because you pretty much know what you're going to get out of the top 4 day in and day out.
And a team that, to me, finds so many different ways to win. They have the speed, they have a ton of lefties, they can drop that bunt if they need it, they have that fear factor in the lineup. But when you think about a team that finds ways to win, whether it's with the long ball or manufacturing runs, that's what makes them dangerous to me. When you think about being able to make kind of a big postseason run, you think about the run they had last year and what they were able to experience going into Texas for a super regional, going against the #1 seed and just coming up short. But moments of just true bright spots, that home run by Maya Perez and the confidence and just what she learned from that.
Over to third, Coffey on to second for 1, and that one thrown away. So a runner at first with 2 away. You bring up that super regional. Some people forget how close it was. In 3 games, 1 total run was the difference between Texas advancing to the Women's College World Series and the Aggie season coming to an end.
And you know what's funny? I had Texas, Missouri last weekend and talking to Coach Singleton a little bit. And we're just talking about that, what they experienced last year. And he said, I'm not saying anything to anyone until we get to Oklahoma City, because you know how hard it really is to, number one, try to get there with the selection show. You don't know where you're going. There's so many unknowns. And then the grind of that regional and that super. And then once you get to Oklahoma City, it's almost like a clean slate. And you go back to the writing board and everyone's at the bottom of the totem pole. You gotta winners win. And it's humbling. And I think this year more than any year, it seems more open and more chances of winning a national championship simply because Oklahoma lost so many of their studs from last year. They're still dangerous. They're still top of the SEC. They're average, all the things. But in my opinion, not as big of a fear factor. They're not as scary to me as previous teams.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the difficult road to get to the Women's College World Series, add to that, if you're playing your arch rival in the postseason, like Texas was with Texas A&M, the rankings heading in, the seedings mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
That one stroked into the glove of a diving Hodge. Oh, what a play by Hodge. Hold on a second.
Oh, that was so good. I think the umpire is saying that Maddox McKee came off the base. Oh, that was, are you kidding me? Look at the layout. That's special.
Oh, just off the bag.
And I think they're going to go to replay review. McKee had time. Obviously, she needed to stretch a little bit, but.
And we will have a challenge from Beth Torina. At this point, why not? Avery Hodge.
The call on the field is that the runner is safe at second base. LSU is challenging the call on the field. This play is under further review.
Home plate umpire Matt Dial. Avery Hodge, the junior transfer from Oklahoma, with the full extension and short. Well, McKee at second, we saw a little bit of the good and the bad from her in last night's series opener. And right there appeared to pull her foot off the bag at the last second. Take another look.
Listen, that play.
After further review, the fielder maintained her foot on the bag at the time the catch was made.
I'm
The
with
runner
them.
is out. That is LSU's first challenge of the game.
Glad they replay reviewed that. They ended up making the right call. Webb gem.
Heck of a play by Hodge.
That I've seen.
Remember, Avery Hodge started the last 4 games of the year for Oklahoma last season in the Women's College World Series, and she produced as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't an everyday starter there, but now getting the opportunity and showing why she deserves it.
When you can say the same thing about Jaden Leno, that's something that Coach Beth Torina had talked about. She said, hey, she waited for her turn, and the opportunity this year presents itself, and she gets those reps and those opportunities. And as freshmen, you want to go in, you're eager, I want to play, I want that, but sometimes there's older vets in front of you, and you may not get the amount of time that you want. So for her to be able to put in the work behind the scenes and finally get that opportunity to be day-to-day, those are the feel-good stories. You love to hear that.
If Danielle Laurie's in the LSU dugout right now, what is she saying?
Oh, man, I definitely am talking about yesterday, the amount of runs scored. I think it's just a chipping away mentality, trying to fire up your teammates.
This one launched to deep center, backing up and right, makes the grab on the track.
It's definitely not easy, especially when you're not at home and you feel maybe this sense of having to press. The game didn't go the way you wanted it to go yesterday, and then you're by no means starting out the way that you want to start, but you got to start somewhere, and it just, who's going to set the tone? And maybe that play by Avery Hodge is something that gets and rallies the troops, gets them going a little bit.
And here she is. Junior transfer has blossomed into a 360 hitter this year, lays down the bunt. Lessentine, the freshman, a little bit too high, and pulls Perez off the bag.
Solid bunt by Avery Hodge, triple threat in the 9 spot, just dropping the bunt. Throw up just a little bit. Good job by Maya Perez being able to get to that, not letting it go by. That's clearly second, potentially third, if it gets by her.
First error of the game committed by the Aggies. Back up to the top of the order we go. Danica Coffey. Lessentine is only allowed 1 hit, a single, to the first hitter of the game, which was the senior Coffey. If they're going to rally, this is the part of the lineup that has to get it going. Coffey on the National Player of the Year watch list to begin the season. That list, by the way, will be narrowed down to 25 in a few weeks. One of the top hitters in the country right now.
There was a press release a couple weeks ago where you heard Sydney Berzon, junior pitcher, talking about how this is Danica Coffey's team, right? And someone who, I think of Berzon as a vet on this team, being that junior, but it just goes to show that 50-year experience.
Lessentine can't make the play, back-to-back bunts. And the Tigers in business. A little shimmy by Coffey. She's reached twice.
Well, no, this is just back-to-back pressure on the defense and getting the ball to Lessentine right away, and maybe not being fully comfortable to make that quick throw, knowing that there's a runner on second base. But putting that extra pressure, I think, is so key to pass the bat.
If you're not getting hits the old-fashioned way, start dropping down the bunt. They have done that. So they have Coffey at first, Hodge at second. And here is Jayla Lassiter, junior transfer from Ole Miss. But first, Johnson comes out behind the plate. There will be a chat in the circle.
I think they're going to be making a pitching change. Coach Trish Ford going to the umpire.
Each team with 2 hits, you wouldn't know it by the actual score of the game. As A&M the beneficiary of a number of free passes. And we'll see if Tricia Ford does go to the bullpen here. with her team still up extremely comfortably 7-0 after that 7-run first inning.
Talking with Grace Sparks.
She's waiting for the official call. The door is not open yet. Trisha Ford's just staring over there. There we go. Here comes a new arm out of the bullpen. We will take a timeout here in College Station. Aggies up big, but the Tigers threatening.
Now in the circle for the Aggies, junior pitcher.
Grace Sparks taking over in the circle, and she will be facing one of her former teammates last year, both transfers from Ole Miss. Sparks facing Jayla Lassiter coming up in a second.
Bringing in the junior, has 42 innings so far on the year, relies heavily on that drop ball, primarily down, uses the defense, also has that good changeup. And I mean, Coach Trish Ford making the change ASAP. Couple runners get on base. Not even trying to let LSU sniff getting back into this ball game.
This is just the second time through the order now for the Tigers as she makes the change. So Sparks again facing her old teammate at Ole Miss, Jayla Lassiter, and time is called. Sparks has come up with some big outings against ranked opponents this year, taking down Florida State and Texas Tech.
You know, when I had that conversation with Coach Beth Torina when I was down there prior to the game, and she said it is so hard for pitchers to go 3 times through an order in a game. Like, hitting is just, she said, they are getting reps with spin rate nonstop. Nothing fools these hitters. And it was just so, you know, I said what I said to you earlier. I was like, yep, I'm glad I pitched when I did. Like, I had a good time from 2006 to 2010. I wanted no business of people getting, you know, reps off me on a pitching machine and knowing what I was going to throw. It's just so different.
You were saying it's a lot harder to be a pitcher these days than it is a hitter.
It is. It's, you could fool people a lot back in the day because you just have to have BP throwers try to replicate you. Now you can put exact rate that pitches are spinning, change up, and what the velo is. You can go hard to soft, back and forth, if that's the type of pitcher you are. You can go in on the hands with that upspin if you're that rise ball to down and away. Like, I don't feel like there is as much advantage for pitchers as there is for the hitters with all the data and the technology. You can have the Rapsodo information being a pitcher, but until, you know, you're getting some type of ability to do those reps like the way the hitters are against you, the beast mode mentality has to come out maybe a little bit more for pitchers.
And how about that? A walk to load the bases. This is exactly what LSU needed. I was going to ask you who had the advantage there. Lassiter and Sparks knew each other from being teammates. Lassiter got the best of Sparks there.
I got to go with, I would assume that the pitcher would have the advantage because she would know the weaknesses, but
instead, she walked her. Bases full for Macy Bajeron. She is a clutch hitter. Of her 9 home runs on the year, 6 have come against ranked opponents. They could really use one now. LSU has hit 5 grand slams on the year, tied for a program record. That one to shallow left, in and out of the glove of Eshte. 1 run is going to come in, and LSU is on the board.
And a little bit of a momentum shift since the Avery Hodge play and the replay review. It's a good piece. And a good attempt by Kramer Eshte. She keeps it in front. That's all that you can ask. She doesn't lay out where the ball gets behind her, but let's see, KK Dement has her back. But an opportunity here for by far the hottest freshman in the country.
Tori Edwards, who has launched 3 grand slams this season. That is tied for the all-time single season record in program history. And the count goes 2-0 to Edwards. What a hitter this year, 14 homers, 57 RBIs. He finds the strike zone. Big spot in this ball game. Edwards gets a hold of one, and that's grand slam number 4 on the season, a new LSU record. We got a brand new ball game in College Station.
One absolute rip. You've seen Grace Sparks going with that changeup a little bit more since she's come in, but Tori Edwards on time. No one bigger. 15th home run of the season. This is clutch. I didn't say it out loud, but in my head I was like, there was a good chance I think she's going to go yard here. Maybe I should have said it so someone would have, but I mean,
believe you.
Just seems like she's the player in the moments, Alex, where you're continuing to see her rise. And the momentum of last inning and that little defensive play and the action, I mean, that was huge. And clearly there's been a momentum change.
And another new pitcher for A&M, their 3rd of the inning, and suddenly a 2-run game thanks to Tori Edwards. Kate Munnerlyn takes over for Sparks, and Danielle, let's play devil's advocate for a moment. The starter, Sydney Lessentine, had only allowed a couple of bunts this inning and a single to lead off the game. What do you feel about the switch going to Sparks?
Making a quick switch, and there was almost a little bit of an awkward exchange of, you know, she had made the comment, it looked like maybe she was saying that I'm not ready, and then she comes out and then just stuff starts happening so quickly, and that's how much this game really changes. And you're right, it's not like LSU was, you know, roping it to left center and right center, like just a couple bunt singles. But I will say both of these coaches, Trish Ford and her knowledge in the circle, as well as Beth Torina, they're cutthroat. This series means so much. And so I think when there's any room or a sniff of maybe someone can get back in, I'm assuming that's why the change was made right out of the gate by Trish Ford, not even wanting to give LSU that opportunity, but clearly that ended up not being the case, and we got ourselves a ball game here.
She was trying to get ahead of it, knew it was the 2nd time through the order, but it didn't pan out as the count now 2-2 to Mackenzie Rudity, who popped up in the 2nd inning. As for Munnerlyn in the circle, freshman out of California, she's only thrown just over 13 innings in her collegiate career.
And hoping for a little lefty magic. Has that changeup. She could throw it at any count. Not a ton of innings so far on the year, but opportunity.
What a turn of events, and it's kind of like early last night when the Aggies went up 3-0. LSU responded with 5 in the 2nd. Just heavyweight blows traded back and forth. Aggies scored 7 runs here in the 1st, and the Tigers have responded here in the 3rd as this one popped up, flied to center. That Torina squad right back in it. Savannah Bedell due up with 2 away.
Where's that missing? I also think the blue behind the plate has a tighter zone than maybe I would like.
We have seen an extraordinarily large number of walks, at least from the other staff. There were 5 walks by LSU in the 1st inning alone, 6 in the game. 1 walk so far by Aggies pitching.
And I definitely will put at times more blame on pitchers for walking hitters, but when you have that many in a game at times and the score is so blown up like it is, you definitely know, turning on the TV, that there's a good chance that the zone is definitely a little tighter behind the plate. I do think Heavner was definitely all over the place.
Over to second. Harper has trouble but recovers in time to get the out. However, Tori Edwards has put the Tigers.
But if you want to go far, you need to be fresher. And she went in, she didn't even get to start on game 3 of Super Regional Sunday because she threw her heart out. She had done so much work throughout that season. You could tell for sure that Texas Heat a little gassed. But that's when you need to have that solid number 2, someone that is able to go into games that you can fully trust. And that's probably the biggest maybe transition for her this year, is learning to give grace of like, all right, put someone else in, it's okay. It doesn't always have to be me, because there will be a time when my name is called, when the lights are bright and I need to be able to step up. I have to give myself that ability to rest at times.
I mean, they have 6 different pitchers right now, and that's not even including Sydney Peters, who's injured right now, the sophomore transfer from Washington.
And with how Sydney Peters was throwing, I think she'd be a good candidate for a solid number 2. Yep. I really do. A back injury, she's been kind of down, and Coach Trish Ford said we don't really want to push it. We really want to make sure that we get her good and where she needs to be.
Vallejo has come out of the bullpen and done her job, an inning and 2/3. No runs and just 1 hit. 2-2 to Olivia Johnson. That one dies down in the glove of Hodge.
But I can't help but go back to the defensive play by Avery Hodge and how then all of a sudden the team just completely responds from that play, which could be a Sports Center top 10 play when you think about it, right? Like, those are the little things that feed into your team battery and get you hyped and get you going. And they look like a different team since that play.
Great point. Absolute turning point defensively. With LSU down 7-0, A&M with a couple of base runners on. And an absolute web gem by the transfer. To Eshte. Aggies scored 7 runs, but they only have 2 hits on the entire day, and they both came back in the first inning. One of them by Kramer Eshte, a 3-run double. It's just a bizarre stat line and performance so far.
Well, and to me, that's why I continue to keep Ashley Vallejo out there, right? Like you said, 2 hits on the board for Texas A&M. Obviously, first inning, a lot of free passes, manufactured those 7 runs, but I think she's just kind of keeping them at bay, using the defense, some web gem plays. Momentum seems like it's on LSU's side. Right now, Texas A&M, I think, has to find a way to adjust.
This one sent to deep left field, but on the run. Leno makes the grab. That is now 6 in a row, retired by Ashley Vallejo. Tigers offense trying to tie it as we head to the 4th.
With Beth Torina too, she said this was definitely a series that we were well aware how much this team wanted revenge against us. Like, it was all over, it's over social media, like, but I think at times, you know, when you think of that as a pitcher, like maybe the pressure that Sydney Berzon may have felt in that start yesterday, with knowing that they are literally gunning for you. They thought about you all year. They've had you circled on their, you know, want to destroy list. At times, that can be intimidating and feel hard and mucky to get through. But if you can flip the script and also have the mentality of, I absolutely love that you want to destroy me, because the feeling's mutual. Like, we're coming into your house and now we're going to try to do the same thing we did last year, but in front of your home crowd. And it's the hardest part with pitching, because
you have to face that head on.
You do, and you just have to let it rip and be confident going out there. And
One more. Right there.
That is strikeout by the freshman Munnerlin, 2 away.
Strikeout t-shirts, courtesy of the Warehouse SCC.
change-up specialist at any count. You saw it a couple times back to back. So good, completely fooled.
Just the second strikeout of the game for Aggies pitching, first since the first inning. Avery Hodge takes strike one. I mean, Tricia Ford said, these were the comments she said after they got swept by LSU last year. Quote, "We got slapped in the face. It is what it is, but life is about how you respond. We didn't step up in the clutch." And she said, that's how I was as a player. I used everything as motivation, always had a chip on my shoulder. And she said, that's how we're going to play this weekend. But you can get the sense from just talking to her, if you've never heard Tricia Ford speak, that's contagious. That energy, that motivation from her, you can tell her players feed off that.
And it's expected to have that same mentality, that destroy mode, redemption.
Poke to right field, 2-out hit. Running into the first baseman was Hodge, and then just gets easily tagged out to end the inning.
No, it's a teaching moment. The umpire, Mike Bartling, put his hand out for obstruction, and when Avery Hodge was rounding first, the opportunity was there to crash into Maya Perez. And if the opportunity's there, you automatically get given the extra base. So, like, when you teach that, like when my daughter's travel ball team, we do, like, if you get the opportunity and there's someone in front of you, whether or not they issue it, and it looks like they're not going to, but that's exactly what you should do if you're Avery Hodge. You see Maya Perez, and whether or not they're not allowing her to go because there is no chance that she would even be remotely safe at second, but I like the heads-up softball IQ by Hodge.
And now the tying run comes up to the plate, and Danica Coffey, who has reached twice, a couple of singles. She has her 71st multi-hit game of her 5-year career. And one more would be a biggie within two. 2-0 count to Coffey. Some of the most dangerous hitters in the SEC. 2 up in this part of the order. There's a strike from Munnerlyn. Career RBIs for Coffey. Runner is going, and in scoring position is Hodge, her 10th stolen base of the year.
Well, and no better opportunity than when you have someone like Munnerlyn in the circle, who is that changeup specialist. 1 in 3 pitches are going to be that changeup. So if you're able to time it up on the base pass and have the speed.
Coffey was ready to head to first. I mean, she is second in the nation in walks with 40. But didn't get number 41, at least not yet, as the count goes full. Swing and a miss, and a huge strikeout for Munnerlyn.
I feel like even if you know this pitch is coming, it is still one of the hardest pitches to hit. Danica Coffey